Hey, I'm Derek, it's me, Derek, and I'm wearing the Sonic shirt. That can only mean one thing. It is time for another Sonic Ports video. Now, last year, I tackled Sonic Jam, but not just the one on the Saturn, also the one on this guy, the Tiger Gamecom. It is a baffling portable system from the late 90s.
Begs to be touched!
And it was an impressively terrible game. Come on, Sonic. Just like, wow. But it was far from the only questionable foray into handhelds for Mr. Gotta Go Fast Esquire, because even before, and especially after, Sega got out of the hardware game, they seemed to have one mandate: put Sonic on as many systems as possible. Gotta go fast? More like gotta make them deals. It is hard to find a system that does not have some kind of Sonic port or Sonic game on it, and we are here to talk about some of his weirdest portable ones. This is Punching Weight, where we celebrate the weird, ambitious, and unnecessary, and we already talked about the Gamecom game, so let's talk about some other weirdest Sonic portable games. But first, who's at the door? It's a Warby Parker ad coming at you abruptly. Sponsoring this part of the video. Summer's knocking, so is Warby Parker's free home try-on program. Order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free for 5 days, and look at that. They get shipped right to your house. You try them on, there's no obligation to buy, ships free, and includes a prepaid return shipping label. Send back what you don't like. You know what? These are a little too wide. A little too wide for my ears. You know what? No problem, I'm gonna send them back. Oh, I like the green ones. We outside in the green of nature. It's got a tint to it too. It's nice. There's so many choices to pick from, but I think these are my favorites. Once you pick your favorite, sunglasses start at $95, including polarized lenses with 100% UV protection, and Warby Parker also has contact lenses, progressive lenses, prescription lenses, shoot, even blue light filtered lenses. Try 5 glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/stopskeletons. Once again, warbyparker.com/stopskeletons. We start with a score to settle. I did 2 videos on Sonic ports last year, every port I could get my hands on, but there was one that got away. The iPod port. Not iPhone, not iPad, iPod. This game came out on a damn MP3 player in 2007. Is that Nelly Furtado? Nope, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. But look at that big, beautiful, bright screen. This was the beginning of the era of watching movies on tiny screens, Shrek GBA aside. I remember back in the day, I downloaded WALL-E onto my iPod and I watched the whole thing on a plane. It was so awesome. It killed my battery completely, but it was the future. It was awesome. What I'm trying to say is this was the future and that Sonic was scroll wheel compatible, but not in the way you'd hope. Naturally, you'd think you'd play this game by spinning donuts with your index finger, but no. They went with something that's not dumb. Lame. In the default control setup, the circle becomes a glorified D-pad, with the center button being jump. It does work pretty well, and is probably a much better way to play this game, but that's not gonna stop me from being a little upset about not having a do-si-do option. Like, the wheel was the iPod. I should at least get like some kind of bonus points for looping along with them. So, forward, back, look up, duck. It's about what you'd expect. One fatal flaw, though, is that pause play, aka down on the wheel, is crouch and sleep. Meaning that if you crouch for too long, the entire system just shuts off. When you turn it back on, you lose all of your level progress. Yeah, now that's punching weight, baby. In terms of the actual gameplay, yo, this is the original Sonic in all its glory. There is no spin dash, but you do have iframes on spikes, which is either a glitch or not a glitch depending on who you talk to. Beyond that, this version is packed full of features like load times with the then modern logo on them. Something about that is just hilarious to me. If you really want to, there is another control scheme that maps jump to any button on the scroll wheel, and then just resting your finger on the wheel moves you forward or backwards, etc. You know, just for the extra challenge, are you completely cool under pressure? Then this mode is for you. If at any point you get too tense and jump on accident, well, for the true Sonic masochist. Thank God this game has unlimited continues. And a tutorial, because honestly with Sonic I need all the help I can get. Developed by Backbone Entertainment, aka Digital Eclipse, and Ziggurat Interactive, this was the early days for games on Apple products. Take that, Angry Birds. This was a weird place for this port, but it was only a year after the amazing GBA port and 2 years before Sonic Classics on DS. It's hard to remember, but there was a time when portable original Sonic wasn't really a thing. And this is an otherwise great port, with with weird controls, but a big bright screen, properly sized, and the legendary soundtrack properly represented. It's too bad this has long since been delisted. And iPod games preservation still has a ways to go. The only way you can play this today is if you have an iPod with it already downloaded. Now, luckily, some fans were nice enough to lend us their iPods, and we were actually able to test this game on 2 different models, a 2005 5th generation iPod and a 2007 6th generation iPod. They're basically the same, but on the 05 model, the load times are much longer. But then again, both these things are kind of old, and maybe these games loaded faster when these things were new. Who knows? It's an obscure port on a very not obscure device. Let's change gears to an obscure original Sonic game on an obscure system. Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Nintendo was killing it with the Game Boy Color in the late 90s. One of the genuine contenders to the throne was SNK's awesome little portable device, which came out in 1999 and had Sonic as a launch pack-in title. Unfortunately, the system just could not stand up to Pokemon and would be decimated by the GBA. And SNK was already in too much financial hot water to properly support it. I loved it though. Screen was bigger than the Game Boy Color, it was more comfortable to hold, and had this gorgeous stick. Just listen to these clickies. Listen to them clicky clackies. This is the only handheld you bought for the fighting games. And put these sticks on a Switch Pro, and we might achieve world peace after all. The thing you need to know about Sonic Pocket Adventure is that IGN gave it a perfect 10 out of 10 in 1999. And that wasn't the only glowing review. This might be the most critically acclaimed Sonic game of all time. It certainly was for a while. So what does a perfect Sonic game look like? Well, this is basically a remix of Sonic 2, which was a high point for the series, arguably the best one. Is that a hot take? I think people generally agree Sonic 2 is great, right? Levels will be familiar, but there's some pretty substantial new bits and missing parts. For example, Neo South Island Zone is basically Emerald Hill Zone with a whole bunch of little layout tweaks. Same with Secret Plant Zone, Cosmic Casino, you get the idea. But there are completely different Eggman bosses, which are really fun and inventive. It's Sonic 2, but animal style. The most notable feature is the addition of hidden puzzle pieces, which unlock a sound test once you finish the puzzle. And there's a ton of them to collect, and it encourages exploration the same way that I really enjoyed in Sonic 8-bit. But beyond that, yo, it's a Sonic game. For some reason, it has Sonic 3's OST, but mixed down as 8-bit versions. If you ever wanted to listen to Sonic 3's OST, but like out of a Master System, this is your port. And I think this is the reason it got so much love from critics at the time. This was the first largely uncompromised portable Sonic game, so no wonder they were excited. And thirsting for a decent Sonic game is something I think we can all relate to. To be honest, the best reason is to play it on the greatest handheld joypad of all time. I love them clicky clackies, but even I gotta admit, this port suffers from the lack of a backlight, which was common for the time, but it's so dark I decided to capture most of our footage on emulation. I bought this thing when it came out, enjoyed it for a hot minute, but it's pretty much just been sitting on my shelf for like 20 years. It wasn't until recently I realized how expensive these things are, the Sonic Pocket set especially. I present to you what may be the priciest piece of cardboard I own. And this game has quite the legacy. It was the first original Sonic game to appear outside of a Sega console. The Gamecom Sonic Jam would have been the first, but it was technically a port. But it's a stretch to call that thing a port since it's barely a functioning game at all. But then does it actually make it an original game then? We gotta move on. The system's shape and form factor and its carts are the only things connected to the GBA. Pocket Adventure's development team would go on to form DIMPS and find themselves the shepherds of the last long streak of good Sonic games on the GBA and DS. In fact, there are plenty of reused level names and other things in the first Sonic Advance, which makes Pocket Adventure feel like a prequel or prelude of what was to come. And what came was a fantastic new game in Sonic Advance. The first proper DIMPS game. This was the first original Sonic game to appear on a Nintendo console. It was classic Sonic Fair, which was a nice compliment to Sonic's 3D outings, which hadn't quite gone off the rails just yet. Sonic Advance has 4 characters and introduced the Tiny Chow Garden. It's pretty fun to compare this to Pocket Adventure and see all the similarities with things like the names and such. Like Neo Green Hill? Where do you think that Neo came from? And the first Eggman boss? Great Sonic game. Classic Sonic game. But if you wanted to, you could forget all that and instead play the port on the Nokia n-gage. That's right, Uncle Derek gotta do the dirty work around here because Johnny and Anthony are a couple of cowards. First things first, this is not Sonic N, it's Sonicin. There is no space. Okay, let's back up a little bit. That N is short for n-gage, and what is the n-gage? The n-gage was a cell phone that played games. At the time, Nokia was the world leader of cell phones and had been for a while. As cell phone tech improved through the 90s and into the 2000s, it opened the door for games, and Nokia smelled money. The response was to make a special sideways cell phone with a dedicated D-pad and throw around a ton of money for licensed games. Tomb Raider, Splinter Cell, Tony Hawk, even a freaking Elder Scrolls. Of course, Sega wanted Sonic on anything, and Nokia wanted everything on the n-gage. Thus, Sonicin was born. Now, we don't actually have a copy of Sonicin, but it turns out it is really easy to pirate n-gage games if you have a working system. Just one of the many reasons the device flopped, but let's get to it. First off, all this is a port of Sonic Advance. And credit where credit is due, the screen is bright and crisp, brighter than the GBA SP at the time. The speaker on this thing has got some power. Crank that thing for maximum library disruption. Try and shush me now, college student just trying to study for something.
Hey, this is library.
The D-pad isn't the most responsive thing I've ever played, but it gets the job done. A weird touch, again, I'm playing this on a cell phone, so I'm pushing the number 5 to jump, and that's fine for Sonic, but for the other characters, the attack button is the number 7 diagonally down, as opposed to like 4 or 6. Moving to 7 and then back up to 5 is harder than you'd think on a tiny number pad, or maybe it's exactly as hard as you think. This makes playing as Amy basically impossible. She cannot jump on dudes, she can only hit them with her hammer and swishing back and forth between 5 and 7. I don't know, I just didn't have the patience to get good at it. Alright, let's cut the crap. Here's the problem. The screen. It is a problem for most n-gage games, but especially for Sonicin. The GBA screen is 3:2 ratio. The n-gage is 11:13, meaning you can either play like this, full screen, or you can push the pound key and play like this, the tiniest little letterbox I've ever seen. How amazing is that? And you're gonna need it because, I don't know, it's Sonic? Kind of important to see what's coming up in front of you? So you either need the eyes of a hawk with binoculars, or play half blind in full screen mode. I mean, why can't you just play sideways? It's not like holding it sideways to play is any more ridiculous than holding it sideways to talk. Otherwise, I'd say it's a solid port. It runs well enough, jokes about the screen size aside, it looks pretty sharp. But I am playing on an n-gage QD, which is the improved redesigned model. I can't speak for what it looks like and plays on the launch model because the one we have is dead. But at the time, if you cared about Sonic, you probably had a cell phone and a GBA. Those two things fit just fine in a pair of Jinko jeans. And this came out in 2003 after Sonic Advance 2. Just nothing about this was a good idea. Other than that, there's not much to talk about except that this game should be referred to as Sonic Advance Ridiculous Letterbox Edition. But I'll give it this. It is a better port than Sonic GBA. That could have used some n-gage letterbox tech. In fact, because of Ridiculous Letterbox tech, we can say Sonic GBA was the one time the n-gage truly outshined the GBA. As if you didn't think that game could be any worse. The real star is this little thing, the n-gage. There is an interesting story behind this, and if you want to know more, sit tight because Past Mortem is returning next with a massive breakdown on the Nokia n-gage. But for now, that is enough Sonic. We did 2 videos last year diving into other Sonic 1 ports. Check out those videos if you haven't already. Stop Skeletons and Fighting is a Patreon supported show. Every single one of these names down here is responsible for the crazy crap that we get into. They all enable us. If you would like to enable us too, you can join their ranks here, support us. You get videos early, access to our Discord. You can chat with us live during our podcasts. And hey, if you can't do that though, just hit a like, ring the bell, tell a friend when someone asks what's like the dumbest, best YouTube channel. Tell them about Stop Skeletons and Fighting. And you know what? That's enough Sonic for once. Now to hang the shirt up until I buy another Sonic t-shirt. I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. See you again real soon.